Ladies and gentlemen, it is Infinity Break. Welcome back to my channel. I am sorry about the delay with videos as of late. I've already explained why I'm taking more time on my videos, but I have been starting online schooling in between that and work and a bunch of other nonsense I'm sure you don't really care about. I have been very busy, and I'm sorry about the delay, but without further ado, let's get into today's video, shall we? Now, normally on the channel, we like to talk about Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls, anything to do with the Elder Scrolls. But today, I wanted to take a little bit of a step back from that to talk about a new game that is very, very awesome. It's one of the best games I've been playing as of late that has come out as of late. Now, since I know a lot of you guys like Skyrim, there's a good chance that you guys might also like a game called Fallout New Vegas. It is considered one of the best Fallout games in the entirety of the Fallout franchise, and that is because of its awesome narrative, awesome setting, and awesome attention to detail, as well as amazing gameplay mechanics. Now, what if I told you that the people that made that game decided to make a brand new IP altogether with the same basic mechanics and the same basic feel of Fallout New Vegas? Well, if you've been following the news as of late and you paid attention a couple days ago, a game came out by the same company that made Fallout New Vegas, Obsidian Entertainment, called The Outer Worlds. And I am here today to tell you that it is one of the best goddamn games I have ever played ever. It is one of the best games that's come out in recent years, and I think that you guys, if you guys like Skyrim, and you guys like Fallout New Vegas, and you guys like other things like Mass Effect and such, you might like this game, because it is probably one of the best RPGs I've played, like I said, in recent years, and I'm going to tell you why. Now first, before I get into what is in the game, I should probably warn you that I played it on both Xbox and I played it on PC, and I noticed a considerable difference on day one when it came to Xbox and when it came to PC. Now I want to warn you, my PC is, I'd like to say, pretty good. It's got a GTX 2070, which is one of the best graphic cards you can get on the market right now. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it has I believe a processor that is roughly about a step or two below an i9 core processor, so it's a pretty good processor. So this machine that I'm running it on is a pretty high tier machine, and it runs it pretty well, and it's probably one of the first games I've played on it that makes the fans and the engine actually go, to the point where I can hear it. Every other game I've played hasn't made it run, and I can actually hear the fans and the liquid cooling system kicking on and trying to keep the machine cool, which means it's a pretty demanding game. I played it on Xbox day one. I don't know if they patched it, but I played it, and the performance, FPS, and just general load times were pretty bad. I know a lot of people are excited for this game, and they're like, oh, it's on the $1 Game Pass. Right now, if you aren't aware, Xbox is having a $1 Game Pass deal where you can download whatever game you want, provided it is part of the Game Pass. I know The Outer Worlds is a part of the Game Pass, and other games like Just Cause 4, Just Cause 3, and a couple others that I don't know off the top of my head are a part of it. But I do know people were excited because all you need to play it right now on Xbox, if you have one, is $1, and you can try it out. But I did notice that the frame rate and the performance just wasn't that great on Xbox. If you're gonna play it on a computer. If you got a great computer, great. If you don't have the best computer, be warned, you might see some technical performance issues. Besides the pretty demanding technical requirements, I'd have to say this game is pretty good. I was sold within the first hour. I tried it on the Xbox Games Pass for the $1 that I had it for right now, and I was sold. I bought the game on my computer for $60 because it was just so well. The intro was so well done. I love the characters, the cutscenes, the jokes. I loved how much character the characters had. I loved all of the little interesting mechanics of how things work, the shooting, the dialogue, how your character was created, how little things that go into that. It felt so genuine. When it came to an RPG, I'd have to say it felt pretty satisfying to play, and I haven't played a game quite like this in a good while. Not since Fallout New Vegas came out, not since I've played Skyrim and the other Elder Scrolls games. This game is just, it makes me feel good to play, and that's a pretty good thing to have, obviously, for a video game in today's day and age. Now, if I were to describe these things in detail, what makes these mechanics and the shooting and the character, what makes them so good? What makes them so good in this game that I have to praise them? Well, the mechanics themselves, movement feels nice. There's unlimited sprint. The dialogue options feel pretty realistic. It feels like the old Fallout system. Fallout 4's new dialogue system was terrible, in my opinion. The Mass Effect style, you have 4 options, maybe more if you go over more. But in the Outer Worlds, it's akin to something more like Fallout New Vegas. Your skills, such as engineering, medical, science, and other such things do matter in dialogue options. If you have a high enough engineering skill, you can give engineering advice, or you can fix a robot in dialogue, or you can say to someone like, hey, I have a high enough medicine skill, so I can fix this person up. I can patch up their wounds if they're bleeding, or I can give medical advice, or I can show that I know what I'm talking about in a conversation with someone else who happens to be an engineer or a soldier or something. Those things are in the game, and it makes you feel like your skills that you invest into have more value outside of just the way they perform in the base game. It feels like your character actually does know what they're talking about. They do know how to work around a medical lab. They do know how to work around the engineering bay and all that such. I mean, and that's good. I like that feeling that my character does know the skills that I put into them, so that they can show it off when they're talking to other NPCs. Gunplay is pretty nice. I love the way that the guns work. There are so many different guns I've discovered, and it all goes down to 4 base types that just span out into a bunch of different classifications of guns. You have the light ammo guns, the heavy ammo guns, the energy weapon guns, and the melee weapons. These weapons all kind of work the same, except for melee, which is obviously a different form of fighting altogether, but the guns all work together in a very similar way. It just depends on which ones you've picked up. There are arc cannons, there are flamethrowers, there are pistols that shoot energy bolts, there are rifles that you can charge up and shoot energy bolts out of for energy weapons. There are heavy weapons, one-handed weapons, and two-handed weapons. Those weapons basically perform, depending upon which ammo type you have, they can perform by firing faster, they can fire slower, but if they're heavy ammo, they do more damage. Different guns like revolvers, to automatic guns, to pistols, to SMGs, to heavy weapons like light machine guns, heavy machine guns. Melee weapons have a two-handed or a one-handed thing, where you can have a hammer, or you can have a one-handed like mace or something. There are a bunch of different types of weapons you can find throughout the game. I've already listed the thousands of types I found so far. I'm exaggerating, it's more like tens. But it just feels like there's a good variety of weapons for you to choose from. The two-handed weapons at the beginning of the game were things more like pull sticks and random wrenches and stuff you'd find around the map. But by the time about a couple hours into the game, you're finding things like futuristic super sledgehammers, and you're finding like maces and swords and energy corrosion weapons, and you're finding miniguns and light machine guns and all sorts of like grenade launchers and stuff. And it makes you feel like the weapon skill that you've invested into, you want to try something outside of that. I wanted to play as a melee weapons character, and then I found out there weren't that many good melee weapons in the very beginning of the game, so I tried out guns. But then I came back to melee weapons after I found a bunch of different melee weapons, so you'll want to try out the different weapons. I started off with revolvers and pistols, and now I have light machine guns and giant hammers. I mean, it's great, and it gives you the flexibility to choose what you want the more you play. You have this thing where you don't pick one skill like one-handed guns, you just invest into firearms, or you invest into I believe tech, which invests into medical and engineering and other such like that. Things like that allow you to be more flexible. So if you want to invest into stealth, that invests into lockpick, stealth, and I believe lying and such, which is pretty interesting. There's a bunch of dialogue options, and there's so many different routes to go on. If you find different things around the map, it can affect the way that you talk to people, and there are a lot of consequences based upon the options that you choose. Dialogue, like I said, feels nice. The skills you have influence your dialogue, and those things actually, the things you say, do have consequences. The first major decision you make in the game, which I'm not going to spoil, you have to choose between one faction or the other. You can choose one faction, and I actually intended to do one thing, but the companion I had with me was so well written, it convinced me to do the other option, and then I had to find compromises based off the decisions I had made. I had to make things right in my eyes, and it gave me the options to do so. So the world feels pretty fleshed out, and your options and your choices, they feel pretty satisfying, and it's not like it's one way or the other. You can meet people in the middle. There's always a third option. There's always more to the story when you feel like you've made your decision, which is very, very nice. The base story of the game is pretty engaging. I like the narrative that the game is going for. You are a colonist on the colony ship Hope that was sent out 70 years ago to inhabit the new colonies and add more of a population and more workers to the roster that was already there. You were being sent to the Hakone colonies by blipping in, which is their form of like hyperspace travel, but something happened and you drifted instead for 70 years towards your destination. So when you wake up, you find out everything's different. There's this scientist guy who wakes you up, and you find out that you have to save the rest of your colonists that are on the ship Hope, and that you can make all the difference. You are the unexpected variable in the equation that is this game. No one has expected you to show up, and based upon your decisions, you can affect everything. Everything can go good, everything can go bad. It is up to you the way you want to play. When it comes to companions and such that you bring with you, which is another thing I wanted to talk about, I really like the writing of these characters that follow you around. Even ones that don't follow you around, just regular NPCs, if they are connected to the story, a lot of them, even sometimes that aren't directly connected to the story, have a lot of good dialogue and a lot of good facial expressions. I noticed that when I was talking to characters, there were more things going on. This wasn't a Fallout New Vegas style thing where people just stood there blankly staring and blinking at you and they didn't do anything. People will drink alcohol if you give it to them. People will decide to talk to you and look off to the side and have facial expressions when you're having a conversation with them, which is, again, really nice. And I'm going to get into NPCs in a second and talk about them and how well they're written and all that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about there for just a brief minute or two. But let me talk about the companions. The companions are nice. The way they perform, they follow you around. You can have up to 2, and you choose them whenever you leave your ship that you own. Yes, you do have a ship. I won't explain what happens, how you get it, but you do have a ship, and everybody is your crew. You are the captain of your ship, and everybody refers to you as captain. So you choose Mass Effect style 2 characters to follow you around, and it's not just a simple matter of, oh, they follow me around and do whatever. They actually have funny banter, they talk about the environment around you, they get into conversations depending upon if they feel like they want to, and you can even choose to have them do special little moves, such as shooting opponents, or doing a slam on opponents, or knocking opponents over, or just something very simple like that. Those little abilities just go on like cooldown and stuff when you're done using them, so you can use them pretty much throughout the battle. I like during combat how you can also mix this up with your special ability, which is the ability to slow time, which is something that comes from being frozen for so long, which is a very nice and very well thought out plot point. The game mechanic is basically centered around the idea that you were frozen for a very long time, so your perception of time is kind of messed up, but the doctor says, don't worry about it, it's fine, it's permanent, but you probably could use it to your advantage, which you do, and it's awesome, and it works very well. But yes, companions and stuff are really well written. I like having them around. They're pretty useful in fights. If they get knocked out, they don't die, which is very nice, because I hate in any RPG when you have a nice companion following you around and they die and it's permanent. I hate when game companies do that. I hate the ability to lose my companions on an adventure that does not matter at all. And thankfully, this game does fix that by allowing them to essentially be essential and not die, which is great. Writing-wise and quest-wise, these companions are really nicely done. Their quests feel nice, their writing is nice, their voice acting is nice. Everybody looks unique and acts unique. There are different personalities, people get into arguments and conversations on the ship, and you see that and it feels genuine and it feels like you have a real crew with you, which has a bunch of different colorful personalities in it. You feel like sometimes you do just want to talk to your companions, talk to your friends, talk to your crewmates, and see what they're thinking, and see if there's anything you could do to help them out. Because they do show their appreciation to you and in turn show more loyalty and more friendship to you, which makes the whole journey with them feel a lot more real. Now this next part does apply to the companions, but it also just applies to the writing in general throughout the game, throughout all the NPCs you interact with and the narrative. Every character you interact with is funny, interesting, has some sort of quirk to them, and if they are some random background character, they still feel like a real person. I love how I can meet someone in the beginning, and one of the best moments was I met this priest guy, this vicar, and he's so nice in the beginning, and he's so polite, and he's a holy man, he's religious, he listens to you, he helps you, he offers counsel, and he asks, can you get this book for me? And you get him this book, and then he goes and does.
Wonderful. This is fantastic. Well worth all the sacrifices Wait. What the fuck is this? Is this French? I can't fucking read French.
It was one of the funniest moments I think I've experienced in the game because I was not expecting it. And it was so well written that I had to just stop for a moment and be like, oh my god, this is freaking amazing. I love this game. It is so good. The companions you meet and the people you interact with, such as the first companion you actually receive in the game, Pavardi, She is so sweet and so nice, and she's so misunderstood and so relatable because she's so awkward. And you learn more and more about her, and she has these little things she adds into the little world that she just comments on things, and it's so nice. It's so realistic, and it made me like her the most. It makes it so when you do her quest lines and help her out as a person later on, you want to do it. Felix is another great character I liked. His introduction was funny, interesting, simple, and in my opinion, just relatable. The guy, you meet him after he punches someone in the face. That was very important, that got him in trouble. And eventually you find him outside your ship with a little speech he's prepared asking if he can join your crew, because he's just so excited to see if someone's willing to take him on a space adventure. And it's so well written, and every one of my companions that was with me, Pavardi was I think the only one with me, and she was commenting the whole time the same thing I was saying, like, I like this guy, I like this guy.
I put together a little speech, just in case you asked. Hey there, I'm Felix Millstone. I have prepared a list of reasons why I believe you should hire me to join the crew of your ship and/or outlaw gang. Firstly, I am highly personable, and I get along well with anyone who is not of the jackass persuasion.
And it makes you smile. The interactions you have make you smile and laugh, and it makes you feel nice. It's something that a game hasn't made me feel very genuinely in a long time. It made me feel like the characters were so realistic that I wanted to take them with me. I wanted to see I wanted to see more of them, more of how they acted, more of who they were. And because of this, it makes me feel like the game is more alive. And that's my opinion on the NPCs, the writing, and a lot of the companions you bring with you. So a lot of the writing is funny, a lot of the characters you meet are nice, a lot of the choices you make are nice. What about the graphics? I know the graphics, like I said earlier, were enough, and I know this is mostly just how the game is running, but the graphics and everything are pretty nice. The way the NPCs and the AI reacts to you is pretty nice. Enemies perform pretty well. Everything looks really well. The sky looks really nice at night, especially in the first area of like Edgewater. The ocean, the stars, the way that the planet has a ring and all that you can kind of see from orbit, or not from orbit, but from the planet's surface looking up into the sky. Everything looks beautiful. The days do go through a day and night cycle. Everything is constantly shifting. It feels very natural, it feels very real. The more you go to different areas, every area has a new aesthetic to it. From the spaceships you go to that have advertising and stuff everywhere, to the desolate planets and moons that have like sandstorms and stuff going on. Everything looks nice. The graphics are very nice, and it makes me feel like Obsidian really did spend a good amount of time, not only on the way the game works, the way the game is written, but the way the game looks. You see like concept art and other such things and diagrams of creatures that are within the game that you have to fight as loading screens, actually. And it makes you feel like everything was designed very, very well. And because of that, it gives another layer to the game that you just enjoy. Overall, I think I've spent, I'd want to say like 10 to 15, maybe almost 20 hours now. It's only been out, I think, a couple days. So if you want to get it, it will be $60, but you can try it through the Xbox Games Pass for, I believe, $1 right now. Unless you already have Games Pass, in which case you could download it for free right now. I will warn you, I don't know how well it will perform on your Xbox, depending if you have a regular Xbox or an Xbox One S. I have an Xbox One, just regular, so it didn't perform too well, but if you have an Xbox One S, it might perform a lot better. I also know that if you have it on the Xbox Store, I believe there's a way to transfer your Microsoft games over to your computer, if you don't own it on your PC yet, but you have a good PC and you just happen to own an Xbox. I think there's a way for you to transfer games that you own on the Xbox and say that you can play them on the PC as well, because Microsoft owns Windows and they also own Xbox. So I think there's a way to do that. Look into that if you want to transfer it and play it over on there. I believe that's what my friend is doing right now. Overall, I like the game. I think it's something that you should play. The game has just constantly blown me away. The Outer Worlds is this amazing new IP, a fresh new idea in today's day and age that makes me feel like it's gonna stay around for a while. I want to see DLC for this game. I haven't even beat it, and I want more. I want to see that there will be more that I will enjoy. Because if the game continues on the way that I've been experiencing it, and I've only experienced maybe, I think, a tenth of what I'm supposed to see, and because there's so many worlds you get to explore, there's an entire solar system for you to explore, and I've only experienced, I think, about 4, almost 5, like, worlds, and they're only areas on the worlds. It's not the whole world. And it's made me feel like, holy cow, there's so much to explore and I want to do more and I keep playing more. And I almost didn't record tonight because I was playing it. So if you want to experience a new game like Fallout New Vegas, buy The Outer Worlds. It's a brand new RPG and Obsidian has outdone themselves this time once again. And yes, this has been Infinity Break with what is The Outer Worlds and why should you play it? I didn't say it in the beginning, but I'm saying it now. It's the title of the video. This is The Outer Worlds, and this is why you should play it. This game is great. I hope you check it out, and I hope you stick around for more stuff like this in the future. I love talking about games like this, and I feel like you're going to see more of this. I actually have a theory I need to talk about soon, connecting New Vegas and this game, but I think I might have to disprove it. Either way, stick around for stuff like this in the future. I'm sorry if you want to see more Skyrim stuff. I do have some Lorcan and Talos theory stuff that I want to talk about, as well as talk about a couple mods I discovered over the course of the last month or so. So stick around for stuff like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and say it with me now. Play well, eat well, and of course live well, friends. Go out there and strive to break infinity, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take it easy now.